Can you change employers while the employment-based green card process is in play? The answer is it depends. Welcome to Sumner School Business Immigration Basics. That's what we're talking about today, green card portability. There are three situations I'm going to talk about. The first is referred to as green card portability. You may have also heard it referred to as AC-21. That refers to the section of the law that tells us what the requirements for this are. The idea with green card portability is if you meet certain conditions, yes, you can change employers while the green card process is going on, before the green card is approved, if you meet these certain conditions. And if you meet these certain conditions, you don't have to start the green card process over again. That means you don't have to file a new perm labor certification if you went through that process, or a new I-140, or even a new I-485. So what are those conditions? One is the I-485 application for permanent residence has to have been pending for at least 180 days or longer. That means if you have not been able to file that I-485 because your priority date is not current, this particular provision does not apply to you. The second requirement is that you're moving to the same or similar occupational classification. And the third is that the I-140 petition be approved or ultimately approvable. There are some exceptions to that. If the I-140 petition has been revoked due to fraud or misrepresentation, or if the employer has revoked or withdrawn the I-140 petition within the first 180 days of it having been approved, that can prevent you from meeting these requirements. If you meet those three requirements, the mechanics of this are that you and your new employer would file the I-485J, which is a form, to let USCIS know of this change. USCIS would adjudicate that. They would look at all of the requirements, make sure you meet the requirements, and if so, they would allow the green card process to continue without you having to restart the process over again. So this is a really amazing provision for those who meet the qualifications. The second situation that we want to talk about is if the I-140 petition is approved, but you haven't been able to file the I-485 yet. In that particular situation, you do have to start, if you move to another employer, you do have to start the perm process over again, if that's the process that you're going through, that you went through. You do have to file a new perm labor certification, but you can retain the priority date from your first I-140 petition. So let's say that you have an I-140 petition approved with employer A, you change jobs to employer B. Employer B does have to file a new perm labor certification application. They have to go through that whole process. But when it's time to file the I-140 petition with employer B can say, hey, my employee here has a previously approved I-140 petition with this priority date that we want to retain. There's not really a formal way to do that. When we do that, we put a note on the cover letter, and then when we get the receipt notice and or approval notice for the I-140, we make sure that USCIS has actually retained the first priority date. But that is not quite as great as the first provision, obviously, but it is really nice because you are able to keep your place in line without having to get at the back of the line or lose your place in line just because you've changed jobs. The third situation that we want to talk about is if you do not have an I-140 petition approved yet. So that means if let's say your employer is going through the recruitment process for perm, or maybe the perm is filed, but it's not certified yet, or even it is certified and the I-140 hasn't been filed or hasn't been approved. So basically anywhere in the process before having the I-140 petition approved, you do have to start the process over again, and there's no priority date to retain because that's locked in once the I-140 petition is approved. So if you're in those earlier parts of the green card process, know that you're going to have to start over, or you may, depending on your situation, may want to wait it out, get to a certain point, and then think about potentially changing employers. So I hope that you have found this information helpful about how to potentially change employers, whether you can change employers while the green card process is going on, and what the implications would be. If you found this information helpful, I hope that you will share this video with a friend or a colleague, and make sure that you subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss our next episode of Sumner School Business Immigration Basics. Until next time, my name is Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law. We help with employment-based and family-based immigration matters throughout the United States and around the world. Until next time.